So hello aspirants, welcome to the discussion on weekly class test 27. So our first question will be from GS paper 3. So the question says, discuss the challenges faced by manufacturing sector in India, and this is the first part, right? And the second part of the question is, you have to enumerate the steps taken by the government to address these challenges, right? So the first part says we have to discuss the challenges which the manufacturing sector is facing, and in the second part you have to write the steps taken by government. Okay, first of all we will focus on the directive. Okay, our directive of the first part is to discuss, analyze, examine. These all are very broad directives, means you have to write everything you can write about this. For example, if the challenges are asked, no, so you don't have to just write the challenges, you have to write those impacts also, what all things you can discuss under these points. So the first part you will write about the challenges, and you have to brainstorm, like after challenges what all I can write. So I can think that after challenges I can write the impacts, right? And after impacts, obviously if there are challenges you have to give the measures, right? But those measures are already asked in the second part, so I am not including. Even if they are not asked and the directive will discuss, anyway you have to discuss, right? So this is the first part which the discuss is asking. Now the directive of the second part is to enumerate. Enumerate means you have to just write the points, no analysis, nothing. If I am saying ki, for example, tell 4 good qualities of yourself, just write all the 4 qualities, nothing else. No analysis, no impact, no challenges, nothing. Okay, so here you have to only write these steps, right? So here in enumerate you have to just write the steps taken by the government. Okay, so till now I just break down the question, that what all you have to discuss. Now starting with the question. So our basic structure will be introduction, body, conclusion. In introduction, anything, if you know any current affairs regarding the manufacturing sector, you can include, or simply the best way to introduce the answer of any of the sectors of economy, either it is agriculture or manufacturing sector or service sector, you can simply write the contribution in GDP and contribution in workforce. This is very good introduction if we are talking about the sectors of economy: agriculture, industry or manufacturing, and services. Don't know anything, write contribution in GDP, that's it. Done with 1 to 2 lines of introduction. Okay, so here also I will start with a very simple introduction, that the contribution of manufacturing sector is around, in GDP is around 17%, and it employs around 27 million workforce. So you can also write these things, or if you have any particular report which is saying this, very good. Okay, so done with the introduction. Now coming to body part. In body part we will discuss the first part, that is we have to discuss the challenges, right? Challenges. Okay, so first challenge I will be discussing is the infrastructural deficiency. Infrastructural deficiency. So see, infrastructure is a very broad term. In infrastructure you can discuss about the loss of electricity issues also, you can discuss about logistics also, you can discuss about transportation, roads, railways, anything can come under these infrastructural deficiency. Okay, and after writing every point you have to substantiate that with example. That only will differentiate you from your competitor. So here you have to give any example you have. For example, I am quoting a report that because of the infrastructural deficiency, 13 to 15% extra cost of any good is increased. Okay, because of the logistic issues. So for example, if the price of any good has to be of 100 rupees, because of transportational issues or logistic issues, 13 or 15 rupees are extra added in the cost. Okay, so this is the first, that is infrastructural issue. Second, I will be discussing about the credit issues. Credit issues. See, various sectors, various small industries like micro, small and medium industries, they face the credit issues, and according to a report, more than 40% of MSMEs take credit from informal source. And see, if you are taking loan or credit from informal source, anyway you have to pay high interest rate, right? So this is the second issue. Okay, now third challenge which I will be discussing is the skill gap in the workforce. Skill gap in the workforce. For example, the industries in the market have a particular demand of skill, but the workforce, the people who are entering the workforce do not have those required skill. So there will be skill gap, right? And according to a report, around only 5% of the workforce have the formal training in India. And the second shocking point is that what is the demand of the workforce in the industry, of the skilled workforce of the industry? Only 70% of that demand is met by the workforce in India. So obviously there is the issue of skill gap, right? Now the fourth point which I will be discussing is the regulatory issues, regulatory hurdles which we call. I am quoting here World Bank ease of doing business report. This report says that the clearance time in India is very high. For example, you want to start a company, you want to bring a startup, but you will need various clearances, right? You can't just start the company. You need various clearances from ministries. So according to this report, this takes a long time for the clearances. Okay, so we have discussed four main issues. First is the infrastructural deficiency, second is the credit issue, third is the skill gap, and fourth is the regulatory hurdles. And you have to notice one point, for today, for every point I have substantiated with any data or any example. So you also have to do that. Okay, then only you will get very good marks. So now I have discuss the challenges. Okay, but see, directive is discuss. Okay, you have to write something extra. So from my side, I am adding something extra, that is, what will be impact of this? If in any country the manufacturing sector is not strong or it is facing many issues or challenges, what will be the impact? See, one of the biggest impact of that will be jobless growth, right? Jobless growth. What is the meaning of jobless growth? That the GDP of any country is increasing year after year, but the employment status is constant. People are not getting job, but the GDP is increasing. For example, you can understand this in this way, that the contribution of service sector in GDP is around 55%. But the contribution of same service sector in the employment or job status, we can say, is not more than 30%. It's less than 30%, I will say. So here only it is visible. No, GDP is growing because of service sector, but the job status in service sector is not very good. So this is one of the very big impact of the, because manufacturing sector is not strong. Because manufacturing sector is one sector which can absorb the workforce, right? And if that sector is not strong, we will address the issues like jobless growth. And you can discuss other issues also. This was the important, so I have discussed. So in this way we have discussed the first part. Okay, discuss the challenges. Now second is enumerate the steps. So just 4-5 steps which you can directly write. See, so there is a very good way to write the steps also. If in exam you are being asked the challenges, and after challenges you are being asked to write the steps. So look towards the challenges and think what government has done to address this challenge. Then you can write easily. For example, one challenge is infrastructural deficiency. So think about a step which government has taken to address it. I can quote here national infrastructure pipeline. Okay, so here national infrastructure pipeline, here it will address the issues of connectivity and logistical issues. So this is one step. Wait, I will change this. This is the one step of government national infrastructural pipeline. Second issue which I have which we have discussed is credit issue. So for this credit issue, I will quote here scheme, production linked incentive scheme. So here various incentives, financial incentives are given for the sectors like pharma, electronics. So a production linked incentive scheme can deal with the credit issue, right? Now third challenge was the skill gap. Right. So for the skill gap, various measures government has taken, like Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Vikas Yojana or Skill India Mission. So these are the steps for this. Now the fourth challenge is the regulatory hurdle. Easily the clearances are not given. So recently government has launched National Single Window Clearance System. here the people who are now starting a company for startups, easily the clearances can be obtained in a digital mode. They don't have to move here and there for the clearances. Okay, so we discussed 4 challenges, and for those 4 challenges we discussed 4 steps of the government. Okay, so you can also do the same. Now coming to the conclusion part. So in conclusion, no, you can say, I have already discussed that manufacturing sector is that sector of economy which has potential to absorb all the workforce in the economy. Okay, so here you can write that no, this sector can easily address the issue of jobless growth, and it can ensure development along with growth, right? Growth and development are separate terms. If GDP is growing, we can say growth is happening, but along with that development also has to happen, like the inclusive growth. Okay, so we can write this in conclusion. Okay, so I think we have discussed both the parts of the question, the challenges also and the steps also, right? Now coming to the second question, that is from GS paper 2, and the question is, discuss the reasons behind the decline of parliamentary democracy in India. Okay, so the question is on parliamentary democracy, but first focus on the directive, that is discuss. So you don't just have to write the reasons behind the decline of parliamentary democracy, you have to add something extra. Okay, so here I will discuss the reasons, and see if there are reasons or challenges, anyway you have to give the solutions, right? So second dimension I will add the solution, even if it is not asked, you have to add because the directive will discuss, right? So let's start. Introduction, body and conclusion. Introduction, you can give simple definition of parliamentary democracy, or if you have something from the current affairs, you can discuss that thing. In body, you will discuss the reasons, and after that you will discuss the measures or solutions, and you can conclude accordingly. Okay, so I am starting with introduction. So introduction, what do you mean by parliamentary democracy, or what do you even mean by the parliamentary system, right? So you can simply write that the system of parliamentary democracy or parliamentary governance was taken from the Constitution of Britain, and it is also called as representative form of government or responsible form of government. That's it, that's enough for the introduction. Now coming for the reasons. Now the question is saying why the parliamentary democracy in India is declining. So see, parliamentary democracy means all the MPs in the parliament have the freedom to discuss, have the freedom to debate. Okay, this is the, see what the democracy means. We the people of India have democracy. We have the right to vote, we have every other fundamental rights, we have right to do anything which we want under certain limitations. So the same democracy is under parliament also. The MPs must be free to do whatever they want under certain limitations. So the question is saying why is there decline in this democracy? Okay, so we have to discuss those. So the first reason I will discuss for this decline is the dominance of executive branch. Dominance of executive branch. Why I am saying this is because see, even if there are MPs in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, but the main policy decision is taken by a cabinet system, right? Which is headed by Prime Minister of India. So the introduction of bill in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha is just a formality, because the main policy decision is already made by the executive branch. So in this way we can say that no, other members don't have the freedom to discuss that thing, because the particular thing is already decided. Right, so this is the first point. Now the second point which I will discuss is the weak opposition. Weak opposition. Why I am saying weak opposition? Because as you have already heard in the news that no, in 16th and 17th Lok Sabha there was no leader of opposition. Why there was no leader of opposition? Because the criteria of 10% of total members of the house was not even fulfilled. Even though in 18th Lok Sabha we have, but this is the case. No, if you don't have a strong opposition or leader of opposition, no debates or scrutiny can happen in the parliament, right? So second is the weak opposition. Third point which I will discuss is the party discipline. Party discipline. What do I mean by party discipline? See, if you are member of particular party and even if you have an independent opinion from your party, but you have to follow the orders of your party, even if you want to give a different opinion. This can also be mentioned under anti-defection law, that no, if you don't follow the orders of your party, you can easily be disqualified. So this is the party discipline, that and what the democracy says, that you have the free will to say anything, but under party discipline you have to follow the orders of your party, right? Now, the fourth point I will discuss is the prevalence of ordinance system. Ordinance system. See, at present times, ordinance system is used as a parallel tool for legislation. But the main reason it was introduced to address some of the issues in emergency times. But ordinance is misused day by day. For example, you have heard about the recent farm laws which were introduced. So though they have not become the act, but they were introduced through the ordinance route when the parliament was not in session. Okay. Now, fifth point I will discuss is the controversy around the money bill. Because see, as you know, the money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha and can only be made, changes can only be made in Lok Sabha. Okay, Rajya Sabha can just contribute in the discussion. You have heard about the issue of Aadhaar bill. So Aadhaar bill was introduced as a money bill, so that no discussion or no changes can be made by Rajya Sabha. So for money bill is also misused in recent times. Okay, so I have discussed the reasons behind the decline. Now I am going to discuss what all measures should be taken to address this decline. So talking about measures, so first measure should be, we have to strengthen the system of parliamentary committees, because as you know, joint parliamentary committee or any other parliamentary committee scrutinizes the bill before introduction in the parliament. So that, these parliamentary committees have specialists from various fields, so that they can address all these lacunas in the bills. So first measure will be strengthening the parliamentary committees. Second point which I will be discussing is the maintaining the transparency in the discussions of parliament. For example, a very good practice in Sweden is that the discussions in the parliament are broadcasted live, so that people can also know what is happening in the parliament. Okay, so transparency, that the sessions of the parliament must be easily accessible or must be broadcasted live. Third thing which I will discuss is the improving the discussions in the parliament. Improving the discussions or debates in the parliament. Recently, you must have heard the news that MPs in Rajya Sabha have entered the well of the house. Well of the house means they reached very near the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So in this way, if the MPs will go on disrupting the meetings of the house, then no decision can be taken, right? So discussions. Now the fourth point I will write is the strong opposition. Strong opposition. Because see, opposition in India is weak from two perspectives. One from numerical perspective also, because 16th and 17th Lok Sabha didn't have even the 10% members. So numerical perspective also. And second is, they are not contributing in the fruitful discussion in the house. So in a way, we have to make our opposition strong, so that, and also the ruling party must take the good points from the opposition, right? So strong opposition. And here you can quote an example that the chairperson of a public account committee is generally from opposition only. So in this way, we have to increase the contribution of opposition members, so that we can improve the status of parliamentary democracy. Okay, so I have discussed these 4 points. You can also add more points if you want. So now coming to conclusion. So parliament is generally, if you want to write a quote, so parliament is generally known as the temple of democracy. So in conclusion, you can write this quote, and after that you can also write that parliament helps to uphold the principles which are mentioned in preamble, which are mentioned in the constitution, and save the democracy in our country. Okay, so I think in this way you can conclude the answer. So we have addressed both the points, we have discussed also, and we have given the measures also. Okay, so yes, that's it from my side. Thank you.